and we're going to go over that right now. Today, we're going to work with this kit here. We're using mic check microphones, mostly. We're using C1s on the overheads. And you can get these mic techs fairly inexpensively, probably for this whole kit, I think $1,600. It comes with the C5
Hand me my iPad,
condensers.
my iPod case. It's on the couch.
We're substituting the C1s on the overheads, and because we're
Please.
using the C5s on the hi-hat and on the ride cymbal. And just because I trust on the snare, I'm just used to using Shure microphones. I still use a Shure SM57 on the snare mic, for a snare mic. And I also have a bottom mic, another SM57 underneath for a bottom mic. In the kick drum, I'm using actually I can't remember the model number for the mic check, but it comes with the kit. But
Hand me my case right there on the couch.
For an extra punch, I'm using a Shure Beta 91A in the kick drum.
Thank you,
for
sir.
A little extra low-end punch. It's a great sounding mic.
Thank you.
And we kind of blend those two together. What you'll notice about this space is that there's a really nice wood ceiling in here, and we get great ambience. And you'll notice that we also have a drum partition so that we can have control over the liveness and deadness of the drum. So we've created a small little studio space, but then for ambience behind us, we've got a couple of microphones set up for ambience in this room, and a couple out in the actual sanctuary, out in that area over there. So we're positioning these out in the main part of the room to give us some really heavy-duty ambience if we need it. And usually I wouldn't use this on an up tempo. I probably would barely use these microphones because they would be too ambient for an up tempo tune. But they're great filler mics for the ballads. You don't have to use any external reverbs when you do something like this. And this room sounds great. I know you can't hear that, but it sounds great. Today we're working with Josh Ellis, great drummer, great friend of Aaron Lewis, plays on 90% of all his stuff. And so earlier, Josh was tuning the drums, and maybe he can give you an overview of what we did earlier.
All right, so the first thing I guess I'll start with is the snare head on the tops. Usually for most gospel sessions and some other genres, this combination usually works, at least for me. I play Remo head. This top is Remo controlled sound, 14 on a Pearl free floater snare, 6.5, 14 by 6.5. And on the bottom, I believe is a Ambassador Clear bottom head on the snare side. When I'm playing sizes 8, 10, 12, and 16 times, all Remos. On the tops, I'm running Emperor Clears, 8, 10, 12, 16. And on the bottom, Ambassador Clears. I guess another thing that I learned here, I guess a few years back from Aaron and John, is that the cymbal height matters. Your drums, and help you achieve overall sound for whatever project or record it might be you might be playing on. So, And when you playing for somebody, playing for a producer, like Aaron Lewis, he's particular about drums. Like drums, and John too. Like they're both. If the drums aren't right, nothing is right. So heads are important. We usually do brand new heads for any session. We put fresh heads on. So I've already done that, and I'm also using some dampeners. I have 2 Mino honey dampeners on my snare drum, and I was getting tones earlier, so I have a dampener on my 8 and my 10-inch tom. So it's basically I already have a solid foundation, and we may tweak here and there once we get started in the session. But as for now, this is the basic sound that I'm gonna run with today. So I believe that's about it.
All right, guys, we're getting ready to record. We got Yash ready. He's ready. We got Adam. He got us all nicely set up. And we got Josh Ellis on the drums. And we got our mic placement already. So
We need a control room. Aaron, we need a control room.
especially with you being here, because you don't like stuff loud at all. So let me show you what
Check
we're
this
using.
out.
What we did. So we got all these cables, and we had to kind of like make them long enough so we can find Yash a little spot. So we found the closest room, which is
The choir room.
the choir room. So this is our control room. This is Yash's spaceship. And so my church, we have the Allen Heath, the Q32. So it's easy to recall and stuff like that. So when I want to do sessions, when I don't have Yash, I still got Yash with me for every session. So this is going to be his little spaceship today. We're running Pro Tools. And you take it, Yash.
Well, the cool thing about the Allen and Heath, and the same thing with the Behringer, is that it has 32 outs that go directly into Pro Tools, and it has a great little EQ. And the mic pre's are, well, obviously Allen and Heath mic pre's, and they sound really good. We've done this before, so let's dig in and see what we can do with this. Okay. So normally, I'll listen to the overheads first. And earlier I set the mic pre's so that they match and basically centered the snare drum as close as possible. And you do that by hitting the mic pre-gain, and the mic pre-gain is actually over here, and setting it so that it's centered. Let me make sure. And then I go in and I find a sweet spot for losing the boxiness in the overheads. You can see it's right in here. I'll subtract that frequency. But I don't want to lose too much of it, because it could get too thin. And then I'll go listen to the room mics and do the same thing. Make sure they're centered. Notice that the right side is a little bit lower than the left side, so I'm going to center it. And then we'll check out the kick drum. We have 2 kick mics. This is the Shure. Boy, this thing sounded pretty sweet already. Let's see. Oh, well, I cheated. I already had some EQ on it. Let's see what it sounds like with nothing on it. Now make sure the output gain is proper. Looks pretty good in Pro Tools, but we're going to adjust it. I'd grab the mic pre-gain. Then bring in some EQ. Oh, hey. Now I've already been playing around with this, I admit it. Okay. But I found the sweet spot in the low mids at around 350 hertz. And I wanted some more attack, so I found it by sweeping in the 2 to 3K range. And then I gave it a nice boost up in the 8K range. So it's without EQ, with EQ. Don't try this at home. See how nasty that is? And then, but I'm not going to use any compression. If I want to apply compression to this kick, I'll do it later during the mix. Now this is really boxy, so you'll hear some changes going on here. Let's see if they're in phase. Well, I know right now I'm digging kick number 1, so we'll decide on that later. We'll see which one we like the most, but I'm thinking kick 1 is the one. So, So this is what the snare sounds like without any EQ on it, with the SM57. There's the SM57 bottom. Same problem. It's just not bright enough, so earlier I brought up top end on it. Let's just see what that sounds like. After I get the kick and snare and the overheads, I'll stop the drummer and we'll listen to the toms individually. Hey Josh, can you hit tom 1? Let me hear tom 2. And 3. And 4. What do you think of this tom 1? Let's go back to tom 1. It's lasting really a long time. So this tom is ringing out a little bit too long, so we're going to go and... Can you deaden that first tom a little bit more? Yeah, go check where the... Yeah, so we sussed out the ring and the tom, and I found little low mids that are kind of nasty in there. Go ahead, hit it again. And I just want to add a little top end to it. Let's hear it all along. One more time. Oh, my fault. Yeah, that sounds good. And then I basically did a similar thing to the second tom and the third tom and the fourth tom. What you do is you just, here, hit the second tom. You hear how boxy that is? You'll find that frequency, which is right in here. And then I find some freak that's around 2, 3K, and then a little top end. And later on, after we record these drums, we'll clean out in between each tom-tom. Like instead of using gates, we'll clean out in between each tom. Let's hear all 4 toms. Now play a groove. Don't play any toms this time and play the groove. So as you can tell, I'll keep going. As you can tell, when I turn the tom mics off, the ringing goes away. That's the way the track will end up sounding. I do a tom pickup. This will be our basic drum sound right here. That sounds great. That snare sounds really nice.
All right, so we're gonna start from the top. We for the track. All right, buddy, from the top. All right. One. One more time. One more time. Hold on 1 second, bro. Hold on. Hey, follow that bass line. Dun, 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 to open hat. Boom. Going into that verse, we ain't flowing in. You got to flow in. It's like you stopping. You know what I'm saying? Here we go. 2. Yo, set those last ones up. Boom, dum, boom, dum. Boom, dum, boom, dum, boom. I gotta feel the feeling in there. Now, and last thing, you can go away from that ride on that pickup. Crash, boom. You can take that. You can take your ride out. You know, get away from it and create your own moment. 1. Emotion. 2. Last time, and I'm moving on. Yo, connect that, swing that. Boom, do the bam, do the psh. You know what I'm saying? Connect them in some kind of way. You know what I'm saying? Cool. Going into the verse, you can put the snare on the on 2 and 4. I mean the rim shot on 2 and 4. I get you coming into that verse. The pickup you did was cool, but you're trying to imitate what I was trying to do. But I want you to be yourself. Okay? Put the rim shot right there. Put the rim shot right there on 2. 2, 3. Put the rim shot on 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. You with me? 2, 3, 4. Yup, and take it off that one. Take it off. So I want 1, 2, 3, wait, 1, rim, wait, kick, wait. You can put your kick on. I'm sorry I'm being picky, but you can put your kick on the down as well. So kick, rim, kick, kick, rim, kick, rim, kick. You with me? 2 on the verse. Second verse, same way. And don't forget to give me some color. You can do that little open hi-hat or something. Second verse. Be careful on that second verse. Be careful. Second verse. Chorus. I'm missing the kick on the down though, on the chorus. Kick, right there. The first one is cool to miss, like you did. That was dope. 2, 3. You can take that one out, like you did the first time. My bad, okay? The very first downbeat to go in the chorus, you can take that one out. 2. Nice. Cool, get you right there. Get you right there, man. Don't forget the emotion. I'm halfway in. I get you on that accent again. Boom, boom, boom. You don't have to put the snare on the 2 and 4 on that, though. Here we go. Boom, 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 boom. Boom. And then come back in. Here we go. You with me? Or you can do your kick. Boom, 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 ga. Going to that next part of boom, boom, za, da, boom. And you kind of like swing your way back in there instead of just regular going in. Da da boom, boom, ska, boom, going to that chorus. But you gotta take me there. You ain't taking me there. You gotta take me up. Boom. You ain't taking me there, bro. Give me some emotion. Double chorus. Emotion, emotion. No, that was standard. That was standard. To take me to that next chorus, you gotta lift me. You gotta lift me up. Because after that, it's another chorus with the special, okay? You got to lift me to the second chorus. Make me feel it. You gotta make me feel it like you're hearing everything. Lift me. Right there in the middle of this chord, you hear that passing chord. Boom, boom, in the middle of that. I'm gonna punch you on that turnaround again because you ain't lift me like I needed, Doc. Pick up that turnaround. Here we go. No, that was standard. That was standard. That was standard. I need you to lift me, man. Lift me up. Here's the turnaround. Hey, as much as I like that one, I need you to do the off stuff with the cymbals. Boom, like I gotta feel you. You ain't. It's just you doing me the standard way. I don't want the standard. Come on. Passing chord. Right there, that passing chord. 6, 2, because you can hear, you know numbers, bro. 6. On that 6, hit me on that 6 with the crash, with the snare. That's the 6 right there. 6. Okay, here we go. But now you know where it's at, right? All right. Another chorus. Lift me up. Yeah. Yeah. Lift me up. Special. No, you gotta be clean. You gotta be clean going to that special. And you don't use your times too much because we're about to go to the times, okay? I'll get you in the middle right before that last lift. I'm in. That's your times right there. That's the times right there. That was perfect. You just didn't go to the times. Yo, get you on that special one more time. Here we go. 1, 2. You gotta crash on that downbeat, bro. Okay, that little interlude part, you gotta lift me out of that interlude part. We're almost done. You gotta take me out of that interlude part at the end of it. Here we go. Let's go. Hey, instead of doing a tom feel on that, boom, like lift it in there like that, just something different. Here we go. Yeah. Oh no, you gotta set that up, dog. You gotta set that up. You're not gonna just play me right into it. You set that thing up. 1. Here we go. Yo, bum 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 bum, ga bum 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 bum, snare, Jones, boom. Once we hit, after you finish that special part, then kind of swing your way back on the pulse. Bum 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 bum, to ska ga 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 ga. You know what I'm saying? Okay, last thing on the outro, instead of doing the time thing, do more of a time. More of a snare kind of cadence. Boom, even with while you're on your ride as well. You know what I'm saying? So 1, 2, 3, ska, 2, 3, ka, boom, boom, yeah. And I'm gonna get you on that lick one more time. Bum, 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 just so I can have another take. Hit a special, hit a special. Hey, do one thing for me. Bum, 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 dun, dun, bum, 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 dun. Ska. Hit that ride and snare one more time. Bum 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 boom. Snare, zah. Yeah, one more time. Yeah, here we go. One more time. You gotta stay with it. One more time. Don't slow down on that. Oh, after that second one, emotion, ska, whatever it is, there's got to be emotion coming out of that. And that special thing, don't slow down right before it, okay? Just got to think ahead. Here we go. Yeah. Oh, you putting too much space. Boom. We at the end of the song, man. You got to take me all the way out. Your special stuff was cool, but I'm still gonna punch you again. Here we go. And don't forget, after that last single, that last note, boom, boom, put some color in there. The bells and stuff. Give me a little sweet candy, Doc. Give me some candy, Reverend. My bad, my punch was terrible. My punch was terrible. My punch was terrible, but you gotta lift, your intensity gotta be up. Gotta be up. My bad. Nice. Be careful. Cool, man. think I got enough to play with, though. All right, cool. Well, I'm gonna let y'all hear my little dummy mix. Before I get to Yash, I kind of like for him to have, you know, where I want the song to go. So I'll put a little verb on the drums and put a little verb on the stuff. So before I get to him, that way he already knows the vision where I want, how the space should be and all that stuff, man. So here y'all go. Here's the song.
What up, what up?
That's it. That's a little bit about what I do. Cool. Hey guys. So in this segment, what we're gonna do in this segment is just kind of go break down the track piece by piece. Like I'm just kind of unmute certain things so you can kind of see how the production grows and why did I use this particular sound or some guys who played on it and just kind of dissect it a little bit more so you guys can kind of go deep within the production of this particular song. All right. So what I'll start doing, I can just kind of like start from scratch. You guys know the drums. We did the segment with the drums already, so we got that down packed. So the way I kind of approach it is, with my productions, I normally
I want to produce like this live music.
Just piano and click, and what happens is the drummer has to literally play to that piano and click. But in this segment, I was fortunate enough to have a lot of that stuff done already. So, but normally the drummers, they just click and piano. So they got to kind of try to see the vision, and I got to try to produce them or produce, what I'm hearing without them hearing everything. Most good drummers are able to do that. So that's why it's always cool to get the professional drummers, because they just know what to do. They can see down the road like you can as a producer. When you hearing the song, some of the demos and stuff like that, you have to be able to hear the finished product while listening to the demo. Some demos have just piano vocal on it. Some demos just have, piano on it. Some demos have a whole production on it. But you have to be able to see down the road, where you're going to take this production. So a lot of times people ask me about a budget for this particular song, and I can't give them the budget because I got to hear the song first. I got to know where I'm going. I can't say, a budget is this, and later down the road, I want to put strings and horns and stuff on it, so you got to have the song
it definitely
first. The song will tell you who needs to play on it.
Especially when he was directing
you need horns on it. The song will tell
the drummer on what to do.
The song will tell you if you need acoustic piano on it. If you need, it's going to talk to you. Like when you hear the song, where for me, it talks to me, it lets me know who I need to call, why I need to call them, what patches to play. So on this particular song, I'm gonna just kind of dissect it and kind of just go through it for you guys. All right. So we got the drums, of course, the click and all this stuff. But before I start, overdubbing and stuff like that, I kind of got to give me a good mix. So that's why I kind of mute everything for me to be able to record and listen to my productions. My mix got to be sweet. So I'll be going through acting like I'm John Yash or somebody, put EQs and stuff on it, just trying to create this image so I can live with it and I'll know where the song is going. So what I normally do is just kind of just start with the kick drum. Here we go. I normally kind of start in the middle of the song where it's kind of maxed out. That way my mix can kind of be, where the top volume is, the highest peak of the volume, for everything. That way I know where I'm going, level-wise, that is. So I just kind of go through it then, get my mix on my snare, how loud I want my snare. And what I do is I've learned a lot from John Yash. I've been knowing him since I was, 19, 20 years old. So a lot of stuff I do because he taught me already. So like my rim shots, my samples, kind of where I want my drums to go. I kind of get them in the place of where they should be. But then of course he takes it up a whole nother notch. So this is just kind of like for my ears.
A lot of ringing.
My drums. And so then what I do is a lot of times, those little atmosphere kind of loops and sounds and stuff, I don't use a lot of internal software. So I don't use a lot of software, not knocking software at all. Because I know a lot of my friends use it. I don't use a lot of software at all. So, well, none at all, I should say. I kind of need to get into it though, because it's kind of like the new thing everybody getting into. So I kind of got to upgrade that and kind of get myself on the software stuff. But a lot of my productions come from just regular keyboards, modules. I'm just kind of like from the old school vibe. I just like the analog. I just like to touch the knobs. And I like to blend stuff together. So I'm not sure how a lot of the stuff, the other internal stuff, with the software, keyboards and stuff, if you can blend all that stuff like that. So I'm not really sure with that. But I'm sure, you probably can do it. But I'm just an analog type of guy. I'm just kind of like old school. I just like my
I want to be analog.
So when it comes to my loops on this particular song, I call my friend Alan Madison. He plays drums. He plays with Vashawn Mitchell. He plays with Kirk Franklin, and he does a lot of stuff, man. He's very, very dope. And I know he does a lot of loops and stuff like that with the atmosphere sounds. I'm not sure what program he used, but I call him every time when I kind of like want the little atmosphere loops and stuff like that. So I'm gonna add his stuff in there. We kind of see what he's doing. He's got about 6 or 7 tracks alone. So I'm gonna go through them just so you guys can hear them kind of individual, what they doing. Number 2, number 3. So all of them kind of like taking them to another level. And with me, when it comes to the loops, I kind of like my loops to have as much separation as it can. Meaning like sometimes I like the shakers to be on one channel, even though it wouldn't play the whole particular time, but that one shaker, I can pan to the left, or that one little triangle, I can pan to the right. So it's cool that he separated for me these different type of loops, because as you can see, this particular shaker, I have it panned a little to the left to kind of like spread the loops out a little bit to kind of make my sound a little bigger, I should say wider. That way I can be able to hear all the stuff that I'm going to stack on top. So again, it's like this particular loop is stereo. I got it left and right. Then I'm adding the second one and the third one. So these are 3 together. They just left and right. But when it comes to the shaker right here, I have it panned to the left a little bit. That way I can hear it, because the track is going to get thicker. So I kind of want to spread stuff out. As you can see, these 2 right here are left and right. The capacitor is on the right. And so then, as I'm keep building my track, kind of got my mix done already, so I'm kind of just basically unmuting. And then what I do is call, percussion player. A lot of times I call a percussion player, and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I got enough samples for this particular song that I don't have to do it, but I just love hearing, the real cymbal swells. I love hearing the real wood blocks and a real tambourine player. Like, I like hearing it from the mic itself and not just the sample. I like to go in, get the tambourine, and sample it. That way I have 2 microphones in stereo. I just kind of like the authentic stuff. I'm just an authentic type of producer. That's the kind of school I went to. And so it was basically a lot of acoustic stuff. So with my percussion, it's a real percussion player, or it's me with a cymbal mic'd up and doing my own cymbal swells and my own chimes. You know, everybody got them old school chimes at church. Get them old school chimes. and mic the chimes, and then you mic them stereo. That way, when you go from left to right, you can kind of hear the image, you know, in your productions. So I like my productions to be wide. That way it's got room for the vocals, it's got room for all my little extra color stuff. Moving on. So as you can see, I have two kind of tambourines. I'm just fancy with it. Let me see if I can find it so you can hear what it is. It's like a top part and it's like a bottom part. Top tambourine. And then the bottom tambourine. Kind of got the Kojic vibe on it with the little panel on it. The Kojic vibe. So yeah. Bass. We headed to the bass. Let's see. Let's go to the now. Who played bass? Good friend of mine, Anton Nesbitt, played bass on this particular track. He lives here in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm a producer where a lot of times I really like to be hands-on, especially with the foundation stuff. I don't really start sending tracks out until I have the piano, I have the bass, and I have the drums. So I can't send stuff out to my homies yet because they're not going to really understand if I just send them the piano and the click. They'll have no idea of where the track is going. But with the drums, they can feel the emotion I want. And with the bass, they can feel, you know, the bass notes or, you know, the emotion. Is he playing up high in this section? Is he playing low this section? Is it a low B flat? Is it a low A or whatever? They can feel where the track is going when those, for me, for my productions, they can feel where I'm want to go with those three instruments already done. And a lot of times I'm doing a bass session, and it takes us 2 hours. It takes us 3 hours because we're so detailed, especially me. I know I'm detailed. And I'm detailed on just the feeling, and I want people to be able to feel the emotion in my tracks. Like when you solo the vocals, I still want you to feel the passion in the piano, in the bass, and just the movements of how we're like just kind of just still building the tracks. Even if he's playing high as a bass player, you kind of still want him to have that emotion in it. Like I want people to feel what I feel with the track, even though he's a bass player. And I hired him to play bass on this track. I got to get him to feel what I feel on the track, you know. So we'll go through, like, for instance, on this intro. Let me show you on the intro. Put the piano with it. I'm sorry. Like even the intro, like with the drums. Right, so he hits 1, 1. He just didn't go boom, boom. He put some attitude on it with the slide. Boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't just plain. It wasn't just, okay, here's boom, boom. No, the emotion is in the track from the jump. And you'll feel the bass player growing throughout the whole song. We'll continue on. Normally from there, I'll start building my keyboard stuff before I like get to the guitar stuff. So we'll do some keyboard stuff, bring in some of the keyboard stuff. Normally with my piano, a lot of people, when we're playing live, we like to stack. Like our piano, we put maybe an EP with it. Maybe we put a little pad. You know, all the homies, we know how to stack from all the keyboards. We know how to do the rollings. We know how to do the motifs, the montages, and all that stuff. We all learn how to stack. That way, if it's one person playing, we have multiple sounds playing at one time. So it makes us thicker. It makes us beefier. Even though we don't have no organ, we got a string pad up under there kind of thickening this up. So when it comes to my productions, I kind of like to still have that vibe in my production. I kind of still like kind of have that vibe, but I have to play them individual. Like it's not like in a live, concert where you got left and right and all you have, is just this one keyboard, everything coming out the same left and right. So, when the mix engineer at the live concert, that's all they got to focus on is just left and right keyboards. That's all they have to blend because I'm blending everything for them. What I'm playing is sending to the live guy. I'm blending it right here on the keyboard. But when you're doing sessions, you want to have the option of taking it out later on, or man, that pad don't need to be there, or that string patch don't need to be there. So I kind of still have the same kind of vibe, but I play everything separate. So that means I'm a piano player, then I'm a Rhodes player, then I'm a string pad player, or the string pad player may not play the whole song. He may come in at the end of the song, or a string or a synth pad or something, or a key bass player or a bell patch. So you become all these different people meaning sounds. You become these different sounds, and they have to have their own track individually. That way, when the mixing engineer gets it, you can say, turn up the bells a little bit, turn up the EP. You know what? Take the piano out, and we just use the EP in the beginning. So you got separation. You got options to do different stuff. So normally with my piano, I start with my piano, bass and drums, then I add an electric piano. On this particular song, I kind of wanted like a bellish piano, not like a Fender Rhodes sound where it's kind of like meaty and thick, but this one has like a bell sound, meaning like on a motif, it could be like the DX or something like that, or the MKS, kind of got that little high end kind of EP bellish, but then I would add a regular E1 on the motif, an E1 Rose patch. So I have both of them together. So what I do
is, Jeremiah.
Like I said, I use a lot of module stuff.
Jeremiah.
So I have maybe like 5 or 6 modules going into a mixer, but then coming out that mixer left and right. So about 6 modules go into a mixer with like 6 inputs, come out of that mixer into my interface. That way, I can have a different sound every song I do, meaning I can use the E1 from the motif. Then I can use the MKS, and I can blend them right here going to tape. That way, you don't have to have separation on those particular things because you're only doing one sound. You're doing the EP sound. So you want to create a new sound. I'm creating a new sound every single time. So EP patch, kind of a little bellish with the MKS, EP, the EP on the motif, the vintage EP on the motif. That's probably it on this particular song. So that's kind of the sound I have. And this is with the piano and the EP together. So you see how it kind of makes it thicker already. Just kind of like show you the sound of it. All right, so moving on. In the beginning of the song, I think this pad is playing. Cool. So in the beginning of the song, I think the pad is playing the whole song, but sometimes it gets louder at times. This pad is probably the analog pad in the motif. Just a regular analog pad, but I kind of tweaked it that way. The release of it is not as long, so when I stop playing, it stops with me, so it's not like I stop playing and like kind of like keep going. And one thing, when you're recording on all these virtual things and the analog modules, make sure you turn your reverb off before you record, because when you release and stop, you want the stuff to stop with you. You want to have the natural decay on it. You don't want to be able to punch and you still punch and you hear the reverb from the other pass. So what you got to do is make sure you turn the reverb off on all your modules or all your interfaces or all your sounds. That way, when you punch, it's a clean punch. It's not like you hear from the previous pass. So that's just a quick note. Pad is probably from the motif, and I probably got a pad from the. I like the Roland 5050 too. It has like a straight analog pad too, so what I'll do is just kind of like blend those two together. A lot of my sounds are created from blending, different sounds together all the time. A little string pad. See, again, on this particular song, I'm kind of treating it like how I would play live, but it's just separated, everything's separate. So as the song get bigger, a synth pad. Let you hear that sound. And that synth pad, I like the Phantom. The Phantom has a nice synth pad. I'm trying to really think of the name of it. I think it's the regular synth 1. I'm not sure. I think it's the regular synth 1. And I do blend that one with the Motif. It's the poly synth. Maybe the Roland 5052. They have just a regular synth pad. What you do is you just go through all your stuff and just see what fits the track. Even before you start recording, you play along with it just to see how it feels in the track. Sometimes some of them sounds don't match. So you just kind of like maybe use one sound this time, so. Then from there, I actually called my friend Titus, one of my best friends, and I just seen him after that. After I have my production, and that's not even my color stuff, that's just kind of like thickening the track up so people would know where, when I do send it out, they know where to go. They know how to approach it. Titus, he plays the organ on it. The organ always come out clean. He gives me left, top right, and then the bottom microphone. He always give me good tracks. They always sound great. He's an amazing player. If you don't know him, follow him. Titus Robertson. He's dope. Then from there, so let's see how this track sounds with those instruments going on. And if you notice, if you're looking at the screen, I have to always put everybody's name at the bottom so I can remember who plays on the track. Track include. So cool from there. Just kind of add guitars. All this other stuff is just kind of complimentary. Now, once that organ get on there, once you have the foundation going, everybody, the pro musicians know how to record the song now. Now you just adding your candy on it. So I wanted acoustic guitar on it. Vendale Smith plays guitar on it, and check his acoustic guitar. I'm sure he did 2 microphones because that's the way we record acoustic guitar. Two microphones, one at the top, one in the middle, and you record 2 at a time. But on this particular song, you do 2 at a time, but then you do the same section, the same 2 microphones, and record it again, making it wider. So if I just had one sound, one pass of that left and right, it'd just kind of like be mono, straight up in the air, like straight, just, it's not wide enough. Like I have a mono now, and you probably can hear how up front it is. But once I pan it left and right, it gets wider. So literally, he plays the song twice. So what you do is just kind of go in sections, that way he can mimic it. He can mimic what he's doing. And you don't have to think too fast. You don't have to think and try to remember every little thing he did. So with that acoustic guitar, I'm gonna blow it up a little bit so you can see. What I did was just comped it down. So he has a left and right, he has a left and right. And what I did was, instead of having 4 tracks, I just bounced it down to make it just 2 tracks. So that first left and right is panned all the way to the left. Those 2 microphones left. And then the other pass of the same 2 microphones are panned to the right. So then what I did was bounce it down, that way my mixing engineer don't have to work with 4 tracks, he can just work with 2. You kind of get that busting down stuff. It took me a minute to get that together, about figuring out how to buzz stuff down and still keep that sound. Moving on. So I guess my acoustic have an extra few tracks. And so what I do was, with the acoustic, you keep the bed of it. That way you don't have to try to like figure out how to play with the small nuances and try to keep the bed. You produce and stuff, so you want stuff as separated and as clean as possible. So like as you can see, I have a left and a right, another acoustic guitar, meaning his bed track is all of this. This is the main stuff. But then I also had him, hey man, I need some little small nuances. Little stuff, which is on top of the standard bed stuff he's doing. Cool. Then after acoustic guitar, you still want electric guitar. Electric guitar is the normal guitar everybody uses. And most guitar players, they have like different pedals and all this stuff. So what it does is it kind of gives it another dimension. It takes the track to another level, meaning like maybe some air stuff or some little, high airy guitar stuff. Maybe some chords on a downbeat with reverb on it to make it bigger. Of course, power guitars and stuff like that too. So I'm gonna start bringing some of that stuff in so you can hear it. So that's this R guitar. So what that's doing is just basically giving you that ear candy stuff. Cool. And then another one is, notice I'm gonna add another one, but this one doesn't come in until all the way down here. So let's see what it's doing. And basically he's playing just different parts to just kind of like elevate the track in different sections. Notice that one didn't come all the way down to the vamp too, so. And if you notice, this one right here, the guitar right is panned to the right a little bit more. That way, it's space your ears, the customer ear can hear both parts. You can hear both parts because one is panned to the right, one is panned to the left. That way you can hear that image. So those are little clean guitars. And then of course the power guitars. Let's see what these guys do. So on this particular song, this power guitar, the high power guitar stuff, it's kind of like bringing out the melody of what I'm already playing on the piano. It's just kind of putting emphasis on the melody at that particular time. So this part that he's playing right here is kind of bringing out that melody. So if I solo it with the piano, you hear it. So what he's already doing, he's playing what's already on tape. It's already there. What he's doing is just kind of like embellishing it. So now he gets to put his own little vibe on it. Just kind of take what I'm already doing up. Take what I'm already doing to another level. He puts more emotion on it. And he adds. Finish. Then it goes right into the verse. So Vendale, he knows what he's doing. He's the pro. So it pays. It pays to call the professionals because they already know what to do. Let's go here. So another thing with power guitars are, I like power guitars to be down there with the bass as well. So that's a high power guitar, kind of like he up on the neck, kind of like more soloish, taking different moments and stuff like that. But then these power guitars I'm about to show you, are basically the low end stuff, basically with the bass, kind of like down there with him. So I put them on separate tracks that way. If I need that rocket sound to come up a little bit more, or that power guitar to just come up a little bit more, I have those on his own track. So we'll go to the vamp of the song so we'll see what's going on. So this is the power guitar. So if I solo that with the bass, they kind of really doing the same thing. It's just putting that crunch on it. And some things in my production where you will hear where the kind of like the power guitars and the bass player kind of like double each other. It's kind of like a vibe I learned from my mentor, Sanchez Harley. That's kind of things he used to do in his productions. That way you kind of know it's him. I kind of got that vibe from him. And when you record power guitars, the way I like to record them, I like to put just the one microphone on the amp. We'll hide the amp, put the one microphone on the amp, and then I'll have them kind of like the acoustic. It doubles itself to kind of make it wider again. That means like if he plays the chorus, boom, whatever he plays, just like this intro, you see left and right, but this is actually two different microphones and two different passes. So I should say two different passes. So the left side, I pan to the left, and when he plays it again, I pan it to the right. That way it gives it kind of like that big image of it. And you hear the different sound when it's in mono. I'm gonna put it in mono so you can hear the difference. This is mono. So if you were to do one microphone and one pass, that's how it would sound. But you double it, it's gonna get wider. Left, right. Now you see how wider it sounds. I kind of get out the way of the bass because you're not going to double the bass. So I add the bass in there. The bass straight up the middle kind of makes the track still wide, like the acoustic guitar. Okay. And little simple things when it comes to power guitars, I like to hear the emotion in it. So it ain't just boom, boom. You hear the intro, he gonna do a slide because the drummer is telling him, yo, we about to take off. So check it out. So that's the power guitars. Cool. So what we do, we start to get to the color keyboard stuff. So normally, by the time I get to start doing my colors, I didn't forgot the song. So what I'll do is maybe do an easy, keyboard pass like the bells or something. So I'll get in there and do the bells. That way I can kind of like I can get familiar with the song again. And my bells don't play in a lot of places. Normally my bells is just kind of like maybe bringing out a small nuance of the piano or something that I would just kind of want to catch. And bring out the melody as well too. So this bell patch, I believe, came from the motif. I think it's a New Age. And then I added, I think from the Trinity too, the Trinity keyboard. They have some Trinity bells. I'm kind of old school. I told you I'm old school. I like all this analog stuff. So it's probably the New Age from the motif. The Trinity bells from the Trinity. And I like the music box from the Phantom. So it's probably those three things, those three sounds from those modules. The New Age from the motif, the music box from the Phantom, and the Trinity bells from the Trinity. So I'll just blend those three together and kind of get my mix right there on spot. That way I don't have to remix it. So I kind of like get my three sounds and I just kind of use that sound all the way throughout. So I'm just kind of letting you hear the sound. Bells kind of like hit on a downbeat a lot of times with me. It don't really play a lot. Just kind of bring out the melody, like I was saying. Here are the bells. Cool. So another thing I like to do are kind of like effect sounds, like it just kind of maybe like little airy stuff. Just kind of like take the track up a little bit and just kind of put a little bit more emotion in the track via effect sounds, you know. So we'll go through those effect sounds. Those effect sounds, they kind of vary. They come from a whole lot of places because the thing about it is you can use that same bell patch and use it as an effect too. But what you have to do, what I do is I kind of like fade it up and fade it down, and I'll keep those three things and then maybe go to, you know, maybe go to a motif and get the analog again and kind of add it or put a filter on that particular pad, or, you know, sometimes I get a synth sound and take all the high end out the synth sound, like the poly and the motif, take all the high end off of it and put a filter on it and just kind of like, you know, put the emotion in it with the volume, riding it up and down and stuff like that. So that's where the effects come from. See, that one's probably an analog. I kind of switch them up throughout the song. That way, it's not the same sounds throughout the whole time. And the motif, well, what's that? The Phantom. They have like the little stellar stuff, the stellar track, emotion stuff. And so what this is doing is just basically, it's just putting more emotion in the track for me. Just putting that emotion in it, man. That way my tracks are not just sterile. Like, people got to be able to feel, you know, feel me and feel where the singer and where, you know, and get in the presence. Like, whatever you got to do to try to get in the presence. That's what I try to do. I'm just kind of going through so you can see what it's doing. Yep. Cool. And then I like to do little lead sounds from, you know, the motif or rolling stuff. Let me see. Most rolling interfaces have the Jupiter lead. I like the Jupiter lead. The motif have a chubby, I think it's called chubby 1 or something. The square lead. One is called the GX lead 2. That's in most rolling keyboards. I kind of like that sound too. I think it's the GX lead 1 and the GX lead 2. They all mostly like the rolling keyboards. And the flutes, I think I have some flutes in here too. They from the motif as well. They're called sweet flutes, I think. So I'm gonna go through these color keyboards. Normally, I like to have, as you can see, it's like maybe 3 channels of them. And again, I kind of like for different ones to just jump out from left to right. They don't necessarily have to be panned all the way to the left, because you just don't want it to be just come out of the left ear, maybe like 75%. That way you can still hear it from the right side, but it's not like all the way to the right side. That way, when the next time when the flutes come in or the mood come in, it comes to the left side 75%. That way it still kind of keep stuff spaced out in the track. That way you can hear different stuff. That sound from the motif, kind of the GX lead. A lot of times I go in there and tweak a lot of the sounds. The sounds that they have in the motif are pretty cool. With any keyboard or any interface or any virtual sound, they are cool. But a lot of times, if you go in there and tweak it, you can kind of get it how you like it. Maybe the release is too long. You take some of the attack off. Maybe it's too dark. You maybe EQ it a little bit and then save the EQ. That way, every time you go back to that particular patch, it's there. So a lot of times I do all that stuff, man. I just try to make stuff my own and try to sound different from everybody else. That's kind of like a Jupiter lead sound from the motif and the phantom. And this are different strings and stuff. When it comes down to just kind of like making the track bigger at that particular moment, I just really do the first thing that comes to mind. Like I don't like second guess myself. A lot of times I'll just do a lot of things and then go back and listen to it. No, I need to take that out, and say I need to take that out, or that bill shouldn't be there. So a lot of times when you're at home, when you're doing your colors, it's cool to overdo it, because at the end of the day, you're going to redo it again, or you're going to take it out, or once you get the vocals, or once you get the guitars, oh no, that's the guitar moment, so you got to delete it. A lot of times I don't second guess myself, so I try to have a quick turnaround time with my productions. That way people ain't waiting all day on me. They're not waiting on me, I'm waiting on them, right? So cool. And let's see what different sounds, what's going on. And a lot of times when you're doing the colors, it's really to just amplify the track. It's really to put your sound on there. A lot of times, as you can see, it's a lot of space in this particular song. It's a lot of space when it comes to these lead sounds. Like these three tracks are my lead sounds. And it's a lot of space. Sometimes they play, sometimes they don't. You wanna, just kind of like build your track. You don't want it just everything going on at the same time. And the reason why these are probably open is because you got guitars in those areas, and you got acoustics in those areas, and you got percussion in those areas. You got timpanis in those areas. So a lot of times you can't put all that stuff at one time, because something got to give. Something ain't going to be heard. So why keep it in there? Just delete it. Because at the end of the day, it's not going to be heard no way. So if it's that moment for that piano, delete the other stuff. It's okay. Everything's not going to work all the time, Let's get an intro and see why I did this right here. This little move line. Let's see what this is doing right here. So what it's doing basically is just creating a sound for the intro. It's just creating a sound. That's it. It's not really taking off and doing its own little thing, because at that particular part in this intro, it's really the guitar moment. So what this little move is really doing is just making a sound, a bed. And as you probably can hear, it's panned to the left a little bit. That way, it's out the way of the power guitar, which is probably panned as well. Everything is panned. Try to get as much space as possible. That way you can hear all your little stuff. And then this little Jupiter line comes in at the end. So what that Jupiter line just did, it just harmonized with it. It added harmony to that end part of the guitar. Check this out. So what it's doing, it ain't really taking off on its own. it's basically playing what's already there. Like the track is doing all the work itself. We'll see what this Jupiter 1 is doing right here, and it's probably add another line too. Here's the lead 1 2. So what that lead line 1 did is just kind of like put the chord with the harmony line at the end. One more time. And I'm sure a bell hit at the 1, so let's listen to it with the bell. 2, 3, 4. So just kind of putting character to the track. That's all it's doing. But cool, yeah. So basically with the colors, with this Moog sound, I kind of still want everybody to still get that stereo image. So just at that particular part, just that little small little nuance, just kind of still keeping that stereo image, throughout the whole song with the little color stuff. Because a lot of times you keep stuff in the middle, ain't nobody gonna hear it, and you fighting in your mix to turn up the color stuff, or turn up that little bell, or turn up that little Moog part, but you can't hear it because it's so centered. Everything is so centered. You got the lead vocal center, you got the background vocal spread out, but they right in the middle too. It's not just to the left. They just on both sides. Everything is just big and thick. You can't really hear your little candy. So left and right, Doc. Okay, cool, man. That's basically it when it comes to the colors. At the end of the song, maybe, when the track gets big, maybe add a little rain. And that's just me playing the first thing I think of, Like a lot of times I don't. So I literally play the first thing that I feel, and I just kind of like work it out. So and this must be a huge part. So for me to add that. So basically, I put the strings in there basically to kind of put that rhythm in it, put the vibe in the track, put the syncopation in the track, keep that rhythm. That way, if the drummer's kind of going off or the piano's kind of like going crazy, those string sounds kind of like keep us down on the downbeat. Basically, almost kind of like a loop. How the loop kind of like just keep everybody down. Those particular parts just kind of like keep us structured rhythm-wise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so it's basically putting the vibe on it. Okay, on this little special part, I think that sound is basically like the 5th sound. I'll just be trying all kind of stuff, y'all. And sometimes when you try stuff,